Title: The Whispered Promise. The creaking of the old house echoed like groaning bones. Outside, the storm howled, embracing the abandoned mansion with cold, damp fingers. Inside, four friends, Liam, Maya, Chloe, and Sam, were looking for a way to ward off the boredom of a stormy night. The idea of the Ouija board, proposed with a nervous smile by Sam, had floated in the air thick with teenage adrenaline. Liam, the skeptic of the group, rolled his eyes. Seriously, still with this? Aren't we a little too old for cheap ghost stories? Oh, come on, Liam, relax, Maya replied, a spark of excitement shining in her dark eyes. It'll be fun. Besides, this house has a reputation for being haunted. What better place to try it? The reputation was an exaggeration. The house, owned by Chloe's grandmother, had been empty for years, accumulating dust and rumors. But the truth is that the atmosphere itself was enough to make your hair stand on end. They dusted off the old wooden board, the letters and numbers engraved in an almost illegible script. They placed a shot glass in the center, the makeshift pointer that would connect them to the unknown. In the flickering candlelight, their faces looked like masks, tense and expectant. Okay, basic rules, Chloe said, trying to sound calm, but with a perceptible tremor in her voice. Respectful questions, no mocking, and always say goodbye at the end. They sat around the board, gently placing their fingers on the glass. The silence was dense, broken only by the patter of rain against the windows and the accelerated beating of their own hearts. Is anyone there? Maya asked, her voice barely a whisper. Nothing. They tried again, several times, with increasingly elaborate questions. Liam, secretly relieved that nothing was happening, was about to declare it a farce when he felt a slight movement under his fingers. The glass trembled, awkwardly sliding towards the word yes. The tension in the room became palpable. They asked for a name. The glass, with spasmodic movements, spelled out, Malaki. Malaki? Sam repeated, frowning. Who is Malaki? The glass remained motionless for a moment, then began to move with unnatural speed, drawing erratic circles around the board. Finally, it stopped on the word, Danger. Fear began to seep into the atmosphere, replacing the initial excitement. Liam, despite his skepticism, felt a shiver run down his spine. I don't like this, Chloe said, withdrawing her hand from the board. We should stop. Before anyone could respond, the glass began to move again, this time with incredible force. They tried to stop it, but it was as if an invisible force was propelling it. It moved from letter to letter, forming a phrase that froze the blood in their veins, IWILLKILLYOUALL. A gust of wind shook the house, extinguishing the candles and plunging them into darkness. A stifled scream escaped from Maya's throat. When Liam managed to light his lighter, the flickering flame revealed a scene of chaos. The Ouija board had slid to the edge of the table and lay on the floor, broken in two. The glass, inexplicably, had disappeared. Then, they heard it. A voice. Hoarse, guttural, emanating from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You promised to play. Now you will pay the consequences. Panic took hold of them. They tried to flee, but the doors and windows seemed sealed, trapping them in the house with something that was clearly not of this world. One by one, they disappeared. Sam was the first, dragged by a shadow that emerged from the floor in the hallway. Chloe, gripped by terror, tripped and fell down the stairs, meeting her end on the cold stone floor of the basement. Maya, in a fit of hysteria, ran to the attic, only to be found hours later, catatonic, staring blankly into space. Liam, the last one standing, found himself alone in the living room, surrounded by an ominous silence. The voice, now closer, more intense, resonated in his head. You thought it was a game. But the promise has been made. Liam, desperate, looked for a way out. He found an old Bible on a dusty bookshelf and opened it randomly, praying aloud, begging for help. The voice stopped. The silence returned, but this time it was a different silence, an expectant silence. Liam continued reading, clinging to the words as if to a lifeline. Suddenly, the Bible slammed shut, trapping his hand inside. A sharp pain ran through his body, a burning sensation that left him breathless. When he managed to free his hand, the Bible fell to the floor, revealing a single word written on the page, false. There was never any escape. The promise has been fulfilled. Liam screamed, a scream of desperation and absolute terror. He fell to the floor, writhing in pain, as a shadow enveloped him, taking his soul with it. The next morning, the storm had ceased. The sun shone on the old house, which looked as quiet and abandoned as ever. No one ever knew what had happened there, on that dark and stormy night. But if you ever pass by that house, and hear a whisper in the wind, remember the promise. And don't play with what you don't understand. It might be the last thing you do.